Life can be tough. We all know that. There are times when it feels like the world is weighing us down, pushing against us with all its might. But here's the thing. You have a choice. You always have a choice. And today I want to talk to you about choosing happiness, even when life feels heavy. Now I know what you're thinking. Choose happiness. When everything around me seems to be falling apart, you've got to be kidding. But stick with me for a moment. This isn't about denying your feelings or pretending that everything is perfect. It's about understanding that you have the power to shape your own experience of life. Think about it this way. Have you ever noticed how two people can go through the exact same situation and come out of it with completely different attitudes? One person might be bitter and angry, while the other finds a way to grow and even feel grateful. What's the difference? It's not the situation itself. It's how they choose to respond to it. You see, happiness isn't something that happens to you. It's not a lucky break or a random occurrence. Happiness is a skill, and like any skill, it can be learned and practiced. And that's what I mean when I say force yourself to be happy. It's not about faking a smile or pretending your problems don't exist. It's about consciously choosing to focus on the good, to find meaning in your struggles, and to cultivate a positive outlook even when things are tough. Now, I can almost hear some of you protesting, but you don't understand how hard my life is. And you're right, I don't know your specific circumstances, but I do know this: no matter how difficult things are, you always have the power to choose your response. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, put it beautifully when he said, everything can be taken from a man but one thing. The last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose. Think about that for a moment. Even the most horrific circumstances imaginable, Frankl found a way to choose his attitude. He didn't deny the horror of his situation, but he refused to let it crush his spirit. And if he could do that in a concentration camp, surely we can find ways to choose happiness in our everyday struggles. So how do we do this? How do we force ourselves to be happy when life feels heavy? Well, it starts with understanding that happiness isn't about having a perfect life. It's about appreciating what you have, finding meaning in your experiences, and cultivating a sense of inner peace and contentment. One of the first steps is to practice gratitude. Now, I'm not talking about some vague, wishy-washy feeling. I mean actively, consciously focusing on the good things in your life, no matter how small they might seem. Maybe it's the warmth of the sun on your face, or the taste of your morning coffee, or the sound of your child's laughter. Whatever it is, take a moment each day to really notice and appreciate these things. When you start looking for things to be grateful for, you'll be amazed at how many you find. It's like you're training your brain to spot the good stuff. And the more you do this, the more natural it becomes. You're literally rewiring your brain to focus on the positive. But gratitude isn't just about feeling good. It's also about shifting your perspective. When you're grateful, you're less likely to dwell on what you don't have and more likely to appreciate what you do have. And that shift in focus can make a huge difference in how you experience life. Another key to forcing yourself to be happy is to find meaning in your struggles. Now, I'm not saying that everything happens for a reason or that all suffering has some grand purpose, but I am saying that you have the power to create meaning from your experiences, even the difficult ones. Think about a time in your life when you faced a major challenge. Maybe you lost a job, or went through a breakup, or dealt with a health issue. At the time, it probably felt awful. But looking back, can you see ways that you grew from that experience? Did you learn something about yourself? Did it lead you to make changes in your life that ultimately benefited you? When we're in the middle of a tough situation, it's hard to see any silver lining. But if we can step back and look for the lessons, the growth opportunities, or even just the ways we're becoming stronger, we can start to shift our perspective. We can start to see our struggles not just as burdens, but as opportunities for growth and transformation. This doesn't mean you have to be happy about bad things happening. It just means that you can choose to find value in your experiences, even the painful ones. And when you do that, you're taking control of your narrative. You're not just a victim of circumstance. You're the author of your own story. Now let's talk about something that's crucial for happiness, but often overlooked: self-care. When life feels heavy, it's easy to neglect ourselves. We might stop exercising, eat poorly, skimp on sleep, or isolate ourselves from others. But these are exactly the times when we need to take care of ourselves the most. Self-care isn't selfish. It's essential. It's like putting on your own oxygen mask first on an airplane. You can't help others or deal with life's challenges effectively if you're running on empty. So make time for the things that nourish you, body and soul. Maybe that's exercise or meditation or spending time in nature. Maybe it's reading a good book or having a heart-to-heart with a friend or creating art. Whatever it is, make it a priority. Sometimes the simple act of taking care of yourself can lift your mood. When you treat yourself with kindness and respect, you're sending a powerful message to your subconscious. You're saying, I matter. My well-being is important. And that alone can be a step towards happiness. Another powerful tool for forcing yourself to be happy is to practice mindfulness. Now, I know mindfulness has become a bit of a buzzword, but stick with me here. At its core, mindfulness is simply about being present in the moment, fully aware of your thoughts and feelings without judging them. When life feels heavy, our minds often get stuck in negative thought patterns. We ruminate on past mistakes or worry about future problems. We get caught up in what-ifs and if-onlys. But here's the thing. Most of our suffering comes not from what's actually happening in the present moment, but from our thoughts about the past or future. Mindfulness helps us break free from these mental traps. It teaches us to observe our thoughts without getting caught up in them. It's like watching clouds pass across the sky. You can see them, but you don't have to chase after them or let them control you. Practicing mindfulness doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need to sit in lotus position for hours or chant mantras, although if that works for you, go for it. You can start simply by taking a few deep breaths and focusing your attention on the present moment. What do you see around you? What sounds do you hear? What physical sensations do you notice in your body? As you do this, you might notice your mind wandering to worries or regrets. That's okay. It's what minds do. The key is to gently bring your attention back to the present moment without judging yourself. With practice, you'll find that you're able to stay present for longer periods, and that this presence brings with it a sense of calm and contentment. Now let's talk about something that might seem counterintuitive when it comes to happiness, embracing discomfort. We often think that to be happy, we need to avoid anything unpleasant or challenging. But the truth is, growth and happiness often come from stepping outside our comfort zones. Think about it. When have you felt most alive, most proud of yourself? Chances are it was when you overcame a challenge or did something you thought you couldn't do. There's a deep satisfaction that comes from pushing your boundaries and discovering what you're capable of. So instead of always seeking comfort, try embracing a bit of discomfort. Take on that project at work that scares you a little. Have that difficult conversation you've been putting off. Try something new that you're not sure you'll be good at. Yes, it might be uncomfortable at first. You might feel anxious or uncertain. But on the other side of that discomfort is growth, confidence, and a sense of accomplishment. And here's the thing. The more you practice embracing discomfort, the more resilient you become. You start to realize that you can handle more than you thought. You become less afraid of challenges because you know you can overcome them. And that resilience, that confidence in your own abilities, is a powerful foundation for happiness. Now, the key to forcing yourself to be happy is to cultivate meaningful relationships. Humans are social creatures. We need connection. We need to feel understood and valued by others. And when life feels heavy, it's off. But here's the catch. Meaningful relationships don't just happen. They require effort, vulnerability, and sometimes discomfort. It's easy to isolate ourselves when we're struggling, to put up walls and push people away. But that's exactly when we need connection the most. So reach out. Be willing to be vulnerable. Share your struggles with trusted friends or family members. Ask for help when you need it. And just as importantly, be there for others when they need you. Often, we find our own burdens lighter when we help carry someone else's. And don't forget to cultivate a relationship with yourself. Treat yourself with the same kindness and compassion you'd show to a good friend. Practice self-forgiveness. Celebrate your successes no matter how small. Learn to be your own cheerleader. Now, let's talk about something that's crucial for happiness, but often overlooked: finding purpose. When life feels heavy, it's easy to get caught up in our own problems and lose sight of the bigger picture. But having a sense of purpose, something that gives our life meaning beyond our own immediate concerns, can be a powerful antidote to unhappiness. Your purpose doesn't have to be grand or world-changing. It could be raising your children to be kind and compassionate people. It could be using your skills to help others in your community. It could be creating art that brings beauty into the world. Whatever it is, having a purpose gives you a reason to get up in the morning, a sense that your life matters. And here's the beautiful thing about purpose. It's not something you find once and for all. It's something that can evolve and change throughout your life. So if you're feeling lost or purposeless, don't despair. What matters to me? What do I care about? How can I use my unique gifts and talents to make a positive difference, no matter how small? When you start living with purpose, you'll find that it gives you strength to face life's challenges. It helps you put your own problems in perspective, and it connects you to something larger than yourself, which is a key component of lasting happiness. Now, let's address something that often holds us back from happiness: the need for perfection. Many of us have internalized the idea that we need to be perfect, to have the perfect job, the perfect relationship, the perfect body in order to be happy. But this pursuit of perfection is a trap. It sets us up for constant disappointment because, newsflash, perfection doesn't exist. Instead of striving for perfection, aim for progress. Celebrate your growth, your efforts, your small victories. Understand that mistakes and setbacks are not failures. They're opportunities to learn and grow. When you free yourself from the need to be perfect, you open up space for joy, creativity, and genuine self-expression. This doesn't mean you should stop trying to improve or grow, but it does mean changing your mindset from "I'll be happy when everything is perfect" to "I can be happy now, even as I work towards my goals." It's about finding contentment in the journey, not just the destination. Another powerful tool for forcing yourself to be happy is to practice forgiveness. Now, I know this can be a tough one. When someone has hurt us or when we've made mistakes ourselves, it's natural to hold on to anger, resentment, or guilt. But here's the thing. Holding on to these negative emotions doesn't punish the other person or change the past. It only hurts us. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning bad behavior or forgetting what happened. It means choosing to let go of the negative emotions associated with the event. It's a gift you give yourself, freeing up emotional energy that you can then invest in more positive pursuits. And don't forget about self-forgiveness. We're often our own harshest critics, holding on to guilt and shame long after we've learned from our mistakes. Learning to forgive yourself, to treat yourself with compassion, even when you've messed up, is crucial for happiness. Now, let's talk about the power of positive self-talk. The way we talk to ourselves has a huge impact on our mood and our overall happiness. Many of us have a constant stream of negative self-talk running through our heads, criticizing our actions, doubting our abilities, predicting the worst outcomes. Changing this negative self-talk takes practice, but it's one of the most powerful things you can do to force yourself to be happy. Start by becoming aware of your inner dialogue. When you catch yourself thinking negatively, pause and ask, is this thought helpful? Is it even true? How can I reframe this in a more positive or realistic way? For example, if you find yourself thinking, "I'm such a failure," you might reframe that as "I'm still learning and growing. Everyone makes mistakes sometimes." Or if you're thinking, "This is too hard, I can't do it," try, "This is challenging, but I'm capable of figuring it out." Over time, as you practice this positive self-talk, you'll find that it becomes more natural. You're training your brain to focus on possibilities rather than limitations, on growth rather than fixed traits. And this shift in perspective can have a huge impact on your overall happiness. Another key to forcing yourself to be happy is to take action. It's easy to fall into the trap of waiting for happiness to come to us, waiting for circumstances to change, for someone else to make us happy, for some external event to lift our mood. But true lasting happiness comes from within. And it often requires us to take the first step. You sober yourself. What's one small action I can take right now to improve my situation? Maybe it's reaching out to a friend or starting that project you've been putting off or taking a walk in nature. Whatever it is, taking that first step can create momentum and give you a sense of control over your life. Remember, you don't have to make huge, life-altering changes all at once. Small, consistent actions can lead to big results over time. It's like compound interest for your happiness. Each positive action builds on the last, creating a snowball effect of positivity in your life. Now let's talk about the importance of setting boundaries. This might not seem directly related to happiness, but trust me, it is. Many of us struggle with saying no, with putting others' needs before our own, with taking on more than we can handle. And while generosity and helping others are wonderful things, they need to be balanced with self-care and self-respect. Setting healthy boundaries means knowing your limits and communicating them clearly to others. It means saying no to things that drain you or compromise your values. It means making time for the things that truly matter to you, even if that sometimes disappoints others. At first, setting boundaries can feel uncomfortable, especially if you're not used to it. You might worry about being selfish or letting people down. But remember this, you can't pour from an empty cup. By taking care of yourself and respecting your own needs, you're actually putting yourself in a better position to help others and contribute positively to the world around you. Another crucial aspect of forcing yourself to be happy is learning to manage stress effectively. Stress is an inevitable part of life, but chronic stress can seriously undermine our happiness and well-being. The key is not to eliminate stress entirely, which is impossible, but to develop healthy ways of coping with it. This might involve practicing relaxation techniques like deep breathing or progressive muscle relaxation. It might mean scheduling regular breaks throughout your day to recharge. It could involve learning to delegate or ask for help when you're feeling overwhelmed. Whatever strategies work for you. The important thing is to have a toolbox of stress management techniques that you can draw on when life feels heavy. Remember, managing stress isn't just about feeling better in the moment. It's about protecting your long-term health and happiness. When you're less stressed, you're more resilient, more creative, and better able to handle life's challenges. Now, let's talk about the power of giving. It might seem counterintuitive when we're talking about forcing yourself to be happy. After all, isn't happiness about what we get, not what we give? But research consistently shows that acts of kindness and generosity boost our own happiness as much as even more than they help others. Giving doesn't have to mean grand gestures or financial donations. Although those are great if you're able to do them, it can be as simple as offering a sincere compliment, helping a neighbor with a task, or volunteering your time for a cause you care about. The key is to make it a regular part of your life, not just a one-off event. When you give, you're not just helping others. You're also shifting your focus away from your own problems and connecting with something larger than yourself. You're reminding yourself that you have the power to make a positive difference in the world, no matter how small. And that sense of purpose and connection is a powerful antidote to unhappiness. Now let's talk about the importance of challenging your assumptions. Often, our unhappiness stems from beliefs we hold about ourselves, others, or the world that may not actually be true. These beliefs can limit us, hold us back, and color our perception of everything around us. For example, you might believe I'm not good enough, or people can't be trusted, or the world is a dangerous place. These beliefs, whether we're conscious of them or not, shape our experiences and can become self-fulfilling prophecies. Forcing yourself to be happy involves questioning these assumptions. When you catch yourself thinking in absolute terms or making sweeping generalizations, pause and ask yourself, is this really true? What evidence do I have for and against this belief? How might things be different if I looked at this situation from a different perspective? This kind of self-reflection can be uncomfortable at first. It requires us to be honest with ourselves and to consider that we might be wrong about things we've long held as true. But it's also incredibly liberating. When you start to challenge and change limiting beliefs, you open up new possibilities for happiness and fulfillment. Another key aspect of forcing yourself to be happy is learning to live in alignment with your values. Many of us go through life on autopilot, making decisions based on habit or external expectations rather than what. But when our actions aren't aligned with our core values, we often feel a sense of unease or dissatisfaction, even if we can't quite put our finger on why. Take some time to reflect on what really matters to you. What are your core values? Honesty, creativity, family, personal growth? Once you've identified these, ask yourself how well your daily life reflects these values. Are there areas where you're out of alignment? Living in alignment with your values doesn't mean your life will suddenly become perfect or easy, but it does mean that you'll feel a greater sense of authenticity and purpose. You'll be making choices that reflect your true self rather than simply going along with what others expect of you. Now, let's talk about the power of curiosity. When life feels heavy, it's easy to fall into mental ruts, seeing everything through the lens of our problems or worries. But cultivating a sense of curiosity can be a powerful way to lift ourselves out of these ruts and rediscover the joy and wonder in the world around us. Curiosity is about approaching life with an open mind, always ready to learn and explore. It's about asking questions, trying new things, and being willing to see familiar situations from new angles. When you're curious, you're fully engaged with life, always discovering new things about yourself. Try to approach each day with a sense of curiosity. What can you learn today? What new experience can you have? What might you discover if you look at a familiar situation with fresh eyes? This attitude of openness and exploration can inject a sense of excitement and possibility into even the most routine days. Another crucial aspect of forcing yourself to be happy is learning to embrace change. Many of us resist change, clinging to the familiar even when it's not serving us well. We stay in unfulfilling jobs, unhealthy relationships, or stagnant situations because change feels scary or uncertain. But here's the truth. Change is the only constant in life. And while it can be uncomfortable, it's also the source of growth, new opportunities, and fresh perspectives. When we learn to embrace change rather than fear it, we open ourselves up to new possibilities for happiness and fulfillment. This doesn't mean you have to make dramatic changes all at once. Start small. Try a new hobby, take a different route to work, strike up a conversation with someone new. As you get more comfortable with small changes, you'll build the confidence to tackle bigger ones when the time comes. Now let's talk about the importance of rest and recovery. In our busy, always-on world, it's easy to fall into the trap of constant activity, always pushing ourselves to do more, achieve more, be more. But this constant striving can lead to burnout and actually decrease our overall happiness and productivity. Forcing yourself to be happy means recognizing the value of rest. It means giving yourself permission to take breaks, to have downtime, to simply be rather than always doing. This might involve setting aside time for relaxation, pursuing hobbies that bring you joy, or even just getting enough sleep each night. Remember, rest isn't laziness. It's a crucial part of a balanced, happy life. It's during times of rest that our bodies heal, our minds process information, and our spirits recharge. By prioritizing rest and recovery, you're actually setting yourself up to be more productive, creative, and resilient when you are active. Another key to forcing yourself to be happy is practicing acceptance. This doesn't mean resigning yourself to bad situations or giving up on your goals. Rather, it's about accepting the present moment for what it is without constantly wishing things were different. Often, our unhappiness comes from fighting against reality, wishing we were somewhere else, someone else, or that things were different than they are. But this resistance only creates more suffering. When we accept things as they are, we free up energy to actually make positive changes where we can. Practicing acceptance might involve acknowledging your feelings without judgment, recognizing that challenges and setbacks are a normal part of life, or letting go of the need to control everything around you. It's about saying, this is how things are right now, and then asking, given this reality, what's the best way forward? Now let's talk about the power of visualization. Athletes, performers, and successful people in all fields often use visualization as a tool to improve their performance and achieve their goals. But visualization can also be a powerful tool for happiness. Take some time each day to visualize your ideal life. What does it look like? How do you feel? What are you doing? Really immerse yourself in this vision, engaging all your senses. This isn't about escaping reality. It's about clarifying what you really want and programming your mind to recognize opportunities to move towards that vision. Visualization can also be used in the moment to shift your mood. If you're feeling stressed or unhappy, take a few minutes to visualize a peaceful, happy scene. It could be a favorite place, a happy memory, or an imagined scenario. As you engage with this positive mental image, you'll likely find your mood starting to lift. Another crucial aspect of forcing yourself to be happy is learning to manage your energy. We often think about managing our time, but managing our energy is equally important. You might have all the time in the world, but if you're constantly drained and depleted, you won't be able to enjoy it or use it effectively. Start paying attention to what activities energize you and what drains you. Try to structure your day so that you're doing high-energy tasks when you naturally have more energy, and lower-energy tasks when your energy dips. Build in regular breaks to recharge and make sure you're getting enough sleep, exercise, and nutritious food to keep your energy levels up. Remember, it's not about being on all the time. It's about finding a sustainable rhythm that allows you to be fully present and engaged when it matters most. Now, let's talk about the importance of play and fun. As adults, we often forget the value of play. We get so caught up in our responsibilities and to-do lists that we lose touch with the simple joy of doing something just for fun. But play isn't just for kids. It's a vital part of a happy, balanced life at any age. Play helps reduce stress, boosts creativity, improves brain function, and can even strengthen our relationships. Whether it's a sport, a game, a creative hobby, or just being silly with friends, make sure you're making time for play in your life. You can bring a playful attitude to almost anything you do. Even mundane tasks can become more enjoyable if you approach them with a spirit of curiosity and fun. So don't wait for designated fun time. Look for opportunities to inject a little playfulness into your everyday life. Another key to forcing yourself to be happy is learning to reframe negative situations. Life will always have its ups and downs, but how we interpret these events has a huge impact on our happiness. When something negative happens, it's easy to catastrophize or see it as a reflection of our worth. But with practice, we can learn to reframe these situations in more positive or neutral ways. For example, if you make a mistake at work, instead of thinking I'm such a failure, you might reframe it as this is an opportunity to learn and improve. If you face a setback in your personal life, instead of seeing it as proof that you'll never be happy, you might view it as a chance to build resilience and discover your inner strength. Reframing doesn't mean denying reality or pretending everything is perfect. It's about finding more balanced, constructive ways of looking at situations. With practice, this skill can help you maintain a more positive outlook even in challenging times. Now let's talk about the power of affirmations. Affirmations are positive statements that can help to challenge and overcome negative thoughts. When you repeat them regularly and believe in them, you can start to make positive changes in your life. Some people are skeptical about affirmations, but there's science behind their effectiveness. When we repeat positive statements to ourselves, we're actually rewiring our brains, creating new neural pathways that support more positive thinking patterns. The key is to choose affirmations that resonate with you and to repeat them consistently. They should be in the present tense, positive and personal. For example, I am worthy of love and respect. I have the power to create positive change in my life, or I choose to focus on the good in each day. Remember, affirmations aren't about denying reality or pretending everything is perfect. They're about reinforcing positive beliefs about yourself and your life, beliefs that can help you navigate challenges and cultivate happiness even when life feels heavy. Another crucial aspect of forcing yourself to be happy is learning to live in the present moment. So often, we're caught up in regrets about the past or worries about the future that we miss the beauty and opportunities of the present. But the present moment is all we ever really have. It's where life actually happens. Living in the present Doesn't mean you never plan for the future or learn from the past. It means giving your full attention to what's happening right now rather than constantly being lost in thoughts about other times. It means savoring your experiences, fully engaging with the people around you, and appreciating the small moments that make up your life. Practicing mindfulness, which we talked about earlier, is one way to become more present. But you can also cultivate presence simply by reminding yourself throughout the day to tune into your senses. What do you see, hear, smell, taste, and feel right now? This simple practice can help ground you in the present moment and increase your overall sense of well-being. Now let's talk about the importance of personal growth. When we're growing, learning, and evolving, we tend to feel more alive, more engaged with life, and yes, happier. Personal growth doesn't have to mean making dramatic changes or achieving lofty. It's about continually stretching yourself, stepping out of your comfort zone, and becoming a little bit better each day. This might involve learning a new skill, reading books that challenge your thinking, having conversations with people who have different perspectives, or setting personal challenges for yourself. The key is to approach life with a growth mindset, the belief that you can always learn, improve, and evolve. Remember, personal growth isn't about reaching some final destination where everything is perfect. It's about enjoying the journey of becoming. When you're focused on growth, you're less likely to compare yourself to others or get caught up in perfectionism. Instead, you're focused on your own progress, celebrating each step forward. Another key to forcing yourself to be happy is cultivating resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks, to adapt to change, and to keep going in the face of adversity. It's not about avoiding difficult situations. It's about developing the strength and skills to navigate them effectively. Resilience isn't something you're born with or without. It's a skill that can be developed over time. It involves things like maintaining perspective, developing problem-solving skills, building strong relationships, taking care of your physical and mental health, and maintaining a sense of purpose. When you're resilient, you're better able to handle life's challenges without being overwhelmed by them. You're able to see difficulties as temporary and manageable rather than permanent and catastrophic. And this ability to bounce back, to keep moving forward even when things are tough, is crucial for long-term happiness. Now let's talk about the power of authenticity. In a world where we're constantly bombarded with messages about who we should be and how we should live, it can be easy to lose touch with our true selves. We might find ourselves trying to fit into molds that don't really suit us, or pursuing goals that don't align with our true values and desires. But true, lasting happiness comes from living authentically. You're from being true to yourself, your values, and your unique gifts. This doesn't mean you never compromise or adapt to different situations. It means that at your core, you're living in alignment with who you really are, not who you think you should be. Being authentic requires courage. It means being willing to be vulnerable, to stand up for what you believe in, and sometimes to go against the grain. But the rewards are immense. When you're living authentically, you feel more alive, more connected to others, and more fulfilled. Another crucial aspect of forcing yourself to be happy is learning to embrace imperfection. Many of us struggle with perfectionism, holding ourselves to impossibly high standards and beating ourselves up when we inevitably fall short. But this pursuit of perfection is a recipe for unhappiness. The truth is, imperfection is not just okay. It's beautiful. It's what makes us human. Our flaws, our mistakes, our quirks, these are the things that make us unique and interesting. When we learn to embrace our imperfections, we free ourselves from the constant pressure to be something we're not. This doesn't mean giving up on self-improvement or settling for less than you're capable of. It means approaching life with a spirit of self-compassion and understanding. It means recognizing that you're worthy of love and respect exactly as you are, while still working towards becoming the best version of yourself. Now let's talk about the importance of connection. As human beings, we're wired for connection. We need meaningful relationships to thrive. But in our busy, often digitally dominated world, it's easy to neglect our need for deep, authentic. Forcing yourself to be happy means prioritizing these connections. It means making time for the people who matter most to you, even when life gets busy. It means being willing to be vulnerable, to share your true self with others, and to listen deeply when they share with you. Connection isn't just about romantic relationships or close friendships, though these are certainly important. It's also about feeling part of a community, contributing to something larger than yourself, and feeling a sense of belonging. This might involve volunteering, joining a club or group that shares your interests, or simply making an effort to engage more deeply with the people you encounter in your daily life. Remember, meaningful connection often requires us to step out of our comfort zones. It might mean initiating conversations, being the first to reach out, or being willing to show your authentic self to others. But the rewards, in terms of happiness, well-being, and overall life satisfaction. As we near the end of our time together, I want to emphasize that forcing yourself to be happy doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect or denying the challenges in your life. It's about consciously choosing to focus on the good, to find meaning in your experiences, and to approach life with a positive, growth-oriented. It's about recognizing that while you can't always control what happens to you, you can always control your response. You have the power to choose your attitude, to find opportunities for growth in every situation, and to create your own happiness. Remember, happiness isn't a destination. It's a journey. It's not something you achieve once and for all, but something you cultivate day by day, moment by moment. There will always be ups and downs, challenges and setbacks. But by practicing the skills and mindsets we've talked about today, you can build a deep, lasting sense of well-being that can weather any storm. Starting today, commit to your own happiness. Make it a priority. Practice gratitude. Cultivate mindfulness. Nurture your relationships. Pursue personal growth. Be kind to yourself. Embrace imperfection. And approach life with curiosity and openness. You have everything you need within you to create a life of joy, meaning, and fulfillment. It won't always be easy, but I promise you, it's worth it. You're worth it. So go out there and create the happy, fulfilling life you deserve. The power is in your hands. Use it wisely. Use it often and watch as your life transforms. Remember, you are the author of your own story. Make it a happy one.